Hi, I'm here to inform you about your car's expired warranty. Is this what you want? Car madness? And well, you're probably wondering how I got here. For that, I need to start by the beginning. October the 23rd of 2077. It's still dawn. A big day lies ahead of you, but it's still too early to get out of bed. It is Saturday after all. And as the thoughts adrift, you can't help but shake the feeling that you've made it. You're home, with your wife, and your baby, Shaun. A beacon of health, fortune would have it. Fortune being something you weren't exactly blessed with in this world, this ongoing war. And now, you're laying in bed smirking to yourself on how lucky can one guy be. To you, it's now maddening to ponder how you felt irritated seeing 6:28 a.m. in the alarm clock. Sleep won't come, but you're not feeling tired. So you just lay there, ever so grateful for the waxing crescent to be illuminating the bedroom just enough for you to be able to discern and admire your soulmate. In that moment, you just know. Everything's gonna be a-okay, you're gonna knock 'em dead at the Veterans Hall. Maybe you can even go to the park after breakfast. The weather should hold up, and before you know it, you're sleeping sound as a baby. And dreaming about cars? What if everything was a car? Would she still love you if you were a car? And surely, the sky and the land, even the buildings, would be awful cars. And then it hits you. What if pretty much every movable, static 3D object that's not junk or miscellaneous was a car? What a weird dream. It's almost as if you had a tickle to the brain. What time is it? Oh, it's still 9 a.m. Bed's empty, and you just know she's spinning the mobile a bit. Shaun loves that. Everything's accounted for, and there you were, thinking when the moment came you'd be feeling nervous. Funny how things go, huh? Anyway, it's time to get ready and maybe rehearse a bit.
War never changes.
You're gonna knock him dead at the Veterans Hall tonight, hun.
You think?
And little did Kevin of Bacon know that catastrophe has already ensued. And great news, apparently we've been pre-selected for entrance into the local vault.
Vault 111.
This fella sure seems trusty enough not to be working for a company that'll dab in nuking the East Coast 219 years from now. Plus, this is Boston, baby. In 2077, any nuke that comes this great country's way surely is gonna be far, far from Boston.
That's the spirit.
Do have coming in. That's, confirmed reports, I repeat, confirmed reports of nuclear detonations in New York and Pennsylvania.
My bad. Also, two things need to be addressed real quick. First off, yes, I did check the moon calendar for Boston in 2077. Second, everything is a car is the mod's name. The floor needs to be made of floor, so don't even. To be honest, I just thought this would be pretty cool for an April Fool's special, even though I'm late as hell for that. Oh, and there's also a second shenanigan later too, but everything in its due time. So, can you beat Fallout 4 if... well, nearly. Everything is a car?
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you!
Pre-war Sanctuary didn't seem to have as many cars as I thought it would, but to be fair, it is the pre-war version. One thing that wasn't static was the car that kick-flipped into running over a pedestrian while saying free hugs to me, and then pretended all it wanted was to park across the road rather than to crush this run early. Collision. It seems we're off to a great start. And before going into the platform, we can already see some people getting their pathing blocked. Even Nora got stuck. But I gave it some time and everything worked out. I told the missus and the neighbor that I love them both, and the explosion seemed way bigger than my thumb, but let's not ruin the cool cinematics for the millionth time. And I don't know why I expected cars in the vault's entrance when there's no items there to begin with. Then the good doctor tells me he's a master of parallel parking as his car slaps the neighbor's butt cheeks for good luck. As everyone's getting ready to put their vault suits on to embark into a journey of becoming a frozen chicken, two cars start dancing like a couple Karens after the third sip of the second wine bottle. Shaun starts crying cause he just realized we were too poor to afford him his own cryopod. And I can't help but to wonder what kind of maniac designed this sofa-themed wannabe of a freezer, and frozen or not, just imagine the back pain after standing for God knows how long. Anyways, you know how this one goes. Nestle's cousin shoots his shot, gets custody of the kids, and they used to have a wife, but she got taken in the divorce. Not sure if anyone is gonna get that last reference, but have at it. Defrosting begins, and so Kevin of Bacon comes out of the freezer, and almost every movable object is now a car. A voice tells me to turn in the hotel keys. I check the floor to see if it's still made of floor, and the car looks at me funny. I take the ex-wifey's wedding ring to pawn in later, and I do parkour my way out of the room. Giant roaches are now a thing, so I take the conveniently placed security baton for nuclear protection on a budget. And that's when we get a tiny glimpse of what's to come. The room's completely blocked, and whilst Corvega would be proud on how prevalent the Blitz became, I now have to indulge in becoming the world's most violent valet. Jesus, I'm trying to clear the way, not collapsing the whole vault. At least the rat roaches were normal. Well, for Fallout, that is. In the cryolator room, I can't even get close to the terminal, and who knows where the 3 steam packs flew off to. At least, the 10mm and some rounds are in sight. I unlock the door, ask the roaches if they're hungry, and feed them a couple bullets. The game's not impressed, and decides to explode something out of nowhere. Well, it had to be a car, but that wasn't my doing, so collision? Who knows, and moving on, between me and the most important piece of tech the game has to offer, the Pip-Boy, there's yet another sample of why you should always have a designated driver being sober on a night out. Fortunately, I didn't need to do a paper chase to find the Wasteland's equivalent of a smartwatch that's equal parts a backpack. And with that, it's time for Kevin of Bacon to see what the world has become. Cars fly through the skies, they dance in the horizon, one's even trying to bring a new meaning to the jingle jangle. As I'm going down the hill, they seem to rejoice in welcoming Kevin of Bacon's return to Sanctuary, where... Holy, okay, that's a lot of cars. A bit of parkour later, and we find Codsworth.
As I live and breathe.
I tell him about the missus's defrosting not having gone well, and that the brat got taken by social services due to my inability to open a door from the inside of a fridge, so he offers me food. The house is completely blocked though, but I quickly realize that nothing stops an emotionally starved General Atomics robot. Just wow. Some sugar bombs and silly dialogue later, and Codsworth offers to help me search the neighborhood for the 2 people I know for a fact are not here. I do go into Shaun's room to reminisce, and I guess Kellogg came out of the vault, realized he couldn't be the father of Nigerian Shaun, so he came to Codsy with a return receipt. Me though, not knowing any of my ancestry, I still need to find the true answers. So I don't have the heart to leave him behind. Or the baby launcher, or Fist of the North Shaun. I also found a book telling me I'm special for enduring Nora's escapades. The little demon then starts getting so excited for seeing a friendly face that he farts himself into oblivion, causing Sanctuary's ground zero. Missing him, even though that was an amazing hit, I reload and tell him beans are out of the menu for good. But a sudden feeling of calmness then takes over, and for some reason, Kevin of Bacon just knows Shaun's invincible. And an amazing melee weapon. And a mini nuke replacement. He just knew they would accomplish a lot together. And a vision of warning became as vivid as a lucid dream when a hallucination showed him that in fact, yielding such power can only put in danger Kevin himself. The first attempt to control what's presumed to be an alien god that yearns for exploding cars broke both of Mr. Bacon's arms and almost destroyed the fine fiber that holds reality together. Luckily, and upon seeing his caretaker in the holiest of shit moments, Shaun and Kevin of Bacon use his broken limbs to craft a dirty mattress out of cloth, and through a 1-hour nap, both the universe and our hero's breath hooks became as good as new once again. Crisis averted. Codsworth then goes on to barbecue a couple bloatflies with such care that not only did he probably phase through a car to get in, but also managed to use his flamethrower without damaging them on his failed attempt at coming back out. And with Shaun completely in tune with nature and Todd Howard's essential blessing, Kevin F. Bacon manages to rescue Codsworth from the neighbor's kitchen. The remaining hostile life signs ended up being the smartest bloodflies in the planet as they hid in the bedroom from the exploding car in the entrance, and it was only upon fiercely tickling them that Codsworth realized that this Shaun is not like the other Shauns. He tells me about people down in Concord. We thank him for the advice, and so we set foot outside our hometown for the first time in around 210 years. Sanctuary's bridge is less busted than anyone that starred in an episode from East Botched, and Red Rocket has been repopulated with the Great Migration of Corvegas. We rescue Dogmeat from being stuck in a scrapyard in yet another Fallout title, and Concord's pure madness. I guess items get replaced as the game loads whatever area we get close to, but before coming up with another joke, two oil bugs that got tired of drinking petrol for the last 2 centuries cannot help but believe their luck when we show up. I show them my pride and joy, baptize Shaun, and we get some fireworks to commemorate. And here's where I realize that nearly everything being a car can also work to our advantage. Cause after getting a safe distance from this regional Armageddon, the amount of raiders in the area instantly dropped to 0. And that's when the most famous geographer of the 23rd century chimes in. In the museum, we soon become history. And thinking I'm smarter than I actually am, I decide to punch a card to start the inevitable DMT graphics and quickly leave. But I also quickly realized that no matter how much time I spend outside, all that did was to put the apocalypse on hold. Soon as I get back in, my fate resumes, and it's only when a miracle by divine intervention comes that we are able to continue. And yes, I think we can all agree that cheating is wrong, but if some of y'all's aunties could forgive some of y'all's uncles for having second families, I'm sure y'all have it in your hearts to grant the Kevin of Bacon some kayfabe. But with trials come the tribulations, and one invincible car remains. No way to explode that sumbitch. Luckily, Mr. Bacon had dreams of watching videos where people crawl through claustrophobic spaces. So, using that idea, he was able to crouch his way into...
No more British occupation!
I found a battery, 2 raiders that I'm sure would have preferred an instant death rather than being beaten into the big sleep, with what can only be described as a demigod's offspring, and we finally reach the reality show of who's Quincy's biggest bitch. Preston slowly raising his hand as Marcy's giving me the bombastic side-eye as she saw through the double entendre. Oh, and Sturgis told me he's a nerd. Mama Murphy then tells me about something angry coming, but then she realizes Shaun's been here all along. In the rooftop, I cosplay as the Enclave before they became remnants. Gristle regrets everything that led him here, and then a mutated lizard that only had protein powder as a food source starts to come after me. Thankfully, and through the power of friendship, Shaun lets me know that he's got this, and for me not to worry. This Deathclaw then gets the worst migraine an animal has ever had, and then Preston starts fangirling about me. Marcy's being Marcy, Sturgis finds the perfect analogy to avoid telling her to F off her backs, without using those exact words. Mama Murphy tells me Diamond City's where I'll find the truth about Shaun, and we all head back to Sanctuary. Preston likes the place. I open up and tell him they don't make fridges like they used to. He marks 10 Pines Bluff in my map and tells me perhaps I can lend them a hand. He also tells me that my reward for rescuing them is the magnificent prize of rebuilding my whole old hometown for them as they watch. So I start working, MacGyver some rugs into sleeping beds, build a couple water pumps, harvest the melons and gourds so I can double our crops, which isn't enough. And Marcy keeps complaining, rather than doing literally anything at all. I politely inform her that the Prodigy have a song about her, and make Marcy the sole farmer so I know where to avoid her. I go to the root cellar thinking of the gold bars, but instead, well, I have no words to describe this. Some cool visuals in the microwaving session later, and I managed to save 2 shivering and afraid bars from this menacing landscape. Now, still in need of crops, I visit Abernathy Farm, where Blake tells me that raiders killed one of his daughters and took her locket. So I promise to help as soon as I can, and being the good neighbor that he is, he offers me enough tomatoes to finish Sanctuary's food source, and it's now time to channel our inner MacGyver once again. Except this time we're turning trees and cars into guard posts. June becomes our gate guy. I remember that each guard can patrol 3 posts at once, and raising our settlement defense to 6 is enough. We're done. Sanctuary becomes a proper home once again.
I was glad to help.
Well, I appreciate it.
Kevin of Bacon, a man of his word, then embarks on a journey to the United States Air Force Station Olivia to retrieve the Abernathy locket. I set up the car in the entrance to explode, fight a raider, some rodents, and lo and behold, we get roasted. Not by a car, but by a mole rat with a couple frag mines attached to his body, cause why not? Second attempt, we keep our distance, things go boom. No survivors due to the chain of events, and we go inside. I tried to duck under a car, and as it realizes it's not gonna be able to go to car heaven, sulks and decides to despawn on his own. Once again, a set of explosions undermines nearly all possibility of raider lifestyle. A bad boy and 2 silly goobs later, and the locket was pretty easy to get. The mole rat that misunderstood the deeper meaning of embracing nihilism shows up once again, but this time we deactivate both him and the mines for good. I then see some more cars mating in the sky, and eventually we reach the closed settlement of 10 Pines Bluff. Over there, we learn that they've been having an issue with raiders from Corvega. We start to make our way down there through the roads and meet Carla. I ask her directions for Diamond City just to double check if Mama Murphy was sober enough when she told me about it. Couple raiders then ambush us. Shaun took care of it. Dogmeat was distracted and headbutted the car. Oh, and some guys yelling that they had a deal with Trudy. Out of sheer pettiness and for no good reason, just joy, I punch one of the cars in the diner and offer to help Wolfgang. But I gave Trudy a chance, and it's when I'm confronting her that I realize I don't have enough charisma to keep them both somehow happy and as vendors, so I have to make a decision. So I went with the one that has unique items, and we go halfsies. I take care of Simone and Trudy takes care of Wolfgang. She then thanks me. We finally reach Corvega and see levels of lag the internet has not seen since the times when Red Dead Redemption just came out. Oh, in fact, this may be even worse. It's way beyond an input delay, and cherry on top, some guys poking me with a lead pipe. But Shaun did manage to get a deadly tickle in there, and waiting around 30 seconds as my graphics card is suffering in silent agony. It was enough for the building to get the tiniest bit of composure and allow me to punch a card to trigger the most hilarious outcome I would have imagined. Yeah, we're done here. The amount of explosions was enough to reach to the raider boss and end all his hopes and dreams. I didn't even bother to loot the place. I left and kept on exploring. And what's worse than raining cats and dogs? Hailing taxis. I'm sorry, I heard that one a couple days ago and I really couldn't have come across it in a more fitting time. Grey Garden was a mess, but I met with Supervisor Wright, and in a world of flying exploding cars, here's her question.
Tell me, darling, what do you think of the water around here?
I then tell her what I've learned is the consensus among Americans regarding their tap water to make it more immersive. To which she asks me if I can go and check the Western Water treatment plant for her. I oblige, and oh boy, I had no clue what to expect. But see, the car equivalent of the almost mythical Rat King phenomenon was not on my bingo card. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to clear most of the mutants, but it surely helped. I also had no clue that the Fist of North Shaun was akin to pretty much being the One Punch Man's cousin. But the April Fool's special challenge is for entertainment, not suffering. This is all about indulgence, baby! Shaun asked for some more beans, I had to, and with the outside cleared, it's now time to investigate the interior. The car saw me and Dogmeat curling nearly in the fetal position, afraid of getting insta-killed through collision, and had enough pity and grace to allow me to go past the entrance and into the elevator. In the lower level, I did use the elevator as a place to hide as Shaun helped me make way. The laser musket Preston gave me came in handy against the turrets. Pressing buttons drains the water levels. I fed some Alert meat to Shaun, kept on doing that until I restarted the main pump and then went back to Supervisor White. She thanks us, we get Grey Garden as a settlement, and I start backtracking to spread the good news. 10 Pine settlers affiliate themselves with the Minuteman. I assure them Corvega is not an issue, and then go back to the Abernathy farm. Give them their locket, and they too start believing again in the Minuteman. Back in Sanctuary, I tell the good news to Preston about our hard day's work, and he then opens up about the Quincy massacre and how he's the last of the Minuteman, and also how he and the Quincy settlers got to Concord. Upon seeing that I'm up for doing all the work for pretty much peanuts, he decides to promote Kevin of Bacon to Minuteman General.
The one good thing about being the last Minuteman is there's no one to argue with me when I say you're the new general.
He then marks something on my map, but it's Starlight Drive-In, which, okay, that's so close to the Drumlin Diner that I'm actually cool with that. In there we get to see some more pretty explosions. And mole rats are not really a threat, and in the shed we already have everything we needed to craft. Both a generator and a recruitment radio beacon. Mission complete. The Master Plans Part 1 was successful, and Preston is now telling me about retaking the castle. Oh, and by the way, it was at this point that I realized our random build was dumb. Especially since I really want the Blitz perk now, so all my level ups are going into agility until I get it. Now, the castle. Before we take a real interest in it, there's a certain city we need to visit. On my way there, I go through Oberlin Station, see if anyone needs my help, and of course they do. But at least this one came from me, taking the initiative, rather than Preston doing his thing. Unfortunately, this settler's sister has been kidnapped by raiders and they're in Backstreet Apparel. Oh, that location is great news, cause that's just before Diamond City. We keep on going, and the amount of cars near Hangman's Alley is so ridiculous I decide to have yet another fireworks show. Cause what else would I do with all this? I kinda expected the whole road to go off, but I'll take what I can get. Anyways, I found the place, punched some raiders, die trying. Realized Shaun can float telekinetically by himself if he so chooses, and kindly ask him to kinetically take care of the machine gun turrets in the roof. He does. Inside the building, I once again get a meeting with Morgan Freeman. I asked him if he knew Gordon, and he gave me access to more miracles provided I don't make stupid jokes like that again. We then settled it on me not making them to him, and I'm back. Now bathing once again in radiation, and fortunately just by the entrance and behind the Novus Lock, there's the settler, the one we were looking for. I free her, and that's when she remembers that the explosions hurt her as well. Great green jewel, here we come. And by the gate, Piper's trying her best to convince Danny.
Open up!
Soon as she sees me, she manages to fool him by pretending I'm a fully stocked trader coming from Quincy. He falls for it, and right on the other side there's Mayor McDonough, who threatens her for calling him a synth on the newspaper. Anyways, they do some blah blah blah, and the mayor ends up asking me who did I come here looking for.
Was there anything particular you came to our city for?
No, what's missing is the truth. I need to go on Maripovich, and to figure out if he's part alien or part demon. In the city itself, Piper manages to go through a car, but I can't. There's just no way. And Shaun's taking a nap. I can't disturb him, so I pray to Todd Howard and things somehow just work. Nat then tells me people are getting kidnapped by an institute that replaces them with synths. And in my mind, I just don't know, because all the tomfoolery we've been seeing is coming from Corvega. Kevin of Bacon decides to keep an open mind and accepts Piper's previous request of an interview. She calls him Blue. We ask her if it's because of the vault suit, and she says nah. It's because you're sad, confused, and a widow, which, fair enough. I tell her about the fridge. She tells me I look great for someone that doesn't look even close to 250 years old. And she recommends me to visit Nick Valentine's detective agency to try and find the answers we so eagerly need. And since it seems like she can put in a good word for me with Nick, I decide to take her with me. In the market, good grief, look at the work conditions Takahashi has to deal with. In the agency, we meet Ellie, who comes up with a great premise. The detective's missing. Great. And apparently some guy called Skinny Malone kidnapped a girl and Nick hasn't returned from investigating it. And that was weeks ago. But fortune would have it, that's yet another thing that's en route with our journey to the castle. So we promise Ellie will take a look into it immediately. Back in the market, and we're starting to realize how much this folks' paranoia regarding synths is affecting everyone.
Put the gun down now!
He's a Sith! He'll kill us all!
Gee.
Hey, who hasn't engaged in a little friendly attempted fratricide in their life?
Before leaving, I asked Dr. Sun to please heal my radiation sickness. 40 caps! What a bargain! Seriously, any rat-away for this one is gonna cost over 200 caps. I then made my way to the back bay, managed to avoid the raiders that spotted me, and upon seeing an unending sea of cars, I just have to trigger the explosions. It was beautiful, but not gonna lie, I thought it would keep on going even more. But let's focus. We're here. The place where the detective has gone missing, Park Street Station. Inside, the cars just had to be assholes, but fortunately Shaun winked at me. Told me he'd take care of it, and that he appreciates our quest for the truth. We hear some Triggerman, do the thing, and once again the Lords of Chaos smirk at Kevin of Bacon. In the next sections before the vault, I don't really have to worry about anything other than punching cars and running for cover. It's beautiful! Vault 114 is yet another abomination of a car compilation, and the explosions taking care of the Triggerman becomes a recurring event. The same thing happens on the unfinished section of the vault, but over here we get perhaps the best set of animations. It just keeps on going. I even have to stop for a couple seconds so Kevin of Bacon can regain his sight. A couple Triggerman and some cars then decide to join forces for a bit, but they inevitably get to meet the Shaunest of Shauns. We see Dino in the distance talking to Nick, but he cannot see me or come after me, so he gets to go on to greener pastures. We free Nick from the locked room, get the bobblehead, keep on going, and we make ourselves back to the entrance where Skinny Malone hasn't kidnapped anybody after all. Darla's his girl. And oh well, we don't like raiders, no matter how sophisticated they might seem with their fancy hats and nicknames. So Malone gets a knee to the face, and the others get to meet my temperamental son. Nick then asks me how I found him, realizes his secretary deserves a promotion, and we go on our separate ways. He returns to Diamond City, where he'll wait for me and have a well-deserved rest, and Shaun requests some more beans. Unfortunately, when he did, there was a spawn in the vicinity that did not make it. Near the castle, Preston asks us how we'd like to best approach the courtyard and its swarm of mirelurks. Then, instead of them hearing me out, you know, the general, everyone starts acting like they're an expert on Sun Tzu's Art of War. I tell them this ain't a movie, so let's just go in guns blazing, and long story short, we all eating seafood tonight. We got some eggs for tomorrow's breakfast. Big Mama Mirelurk is a bit pissed off. Unsurprisingly to anyone, the queen gets Shauned in one hit. We take care of the rest of the eggs and enemies in the castle, and fortunately, all I needed to power up the radio transmitter was right here. And soon as Preston stops patting himself in the back for the work I did, he remembers there's another settlement that needs our help. This time, Sunshine Tidings Co-op. But first, I'm gonna take a 3-day nap and meet the one and only Ronnie Shaw, a veteran and former member of the Minutemen that's been hearing good things about us, so she took it upon herself to come meet Kevin of Bacon, to revisit the castle and to let us know that there might be some goodies in the old armory, specifically artillery schematics. In the castle tunnels, Piper asks me how many miracles have I got left, but I just point to the kid and shrug. Hell if I know. Shaun's acting up, but there's no mobile to spin of it, so I just let him play with the Machine Turret Mark V skull emoji. And with Sarge, we get to see something that's not a car explode for a change of pace, and that's when I realize Ronnie's nowhere to be seen, so I backtrack to the general's room, and there she was, refusing to go in and lend a hand unless I heard whatever she had to say to the very end. We then tell Granny about the locked door near Sarge, and after giving it some thought, she does remember the password. A car just had to be in the worst way possible, and the moral of the story is, these doors are insanely sturdy. And General McGann has the last of the General's attire. Ronnie tells us it would be kinky if we tried it without laundering it. Ew. Oh, and that's the Edgar Allan Poe's Easter egg. The armory was also blocked by a car which made almost every single item play hide and seek with us. I get the schematics, build the artillery, and we start testing it to calibrate it. The Minutemen are on a roll, and Radio Freedom lets me know that Finch Farm needs our help. We go over there, and Abraham tells us that his son Jake took the family heirloom and joined the Forge. I make a quick detour to heal radiation, and upon coming back, and as irony would have it, not only do I see Doc Weathers, but unbeknownst to me, the weather forecast had a chance of raining Corvegas. We go on to Saga's Ironworks, repark the cars in the lot, and we need another miracle. But this one was so ridiculous, the screen went completely white, and not just for a second either. With the building cleared, we safely make our way to the Saga's blast furnace where...
that you can kill. It's him or you.
Oh God, what do I do? What do I do?
Can we move this along? I've got places to be.
One more miracle goes down, Slug's still alive and kicking, until I punch him, and then he falls into the furnace. Somehow, Jake survived, I managed to get the shish kebab from Slug, found the explosives bobblehead, and made my way back to the Finch farm. Jake apologizes to his father for thinking he could keep the raiders away from the farm, but Abraham just starts arguing. But then Abigail shows up and tells them both to shut up. She solved it like a badass. And they also decide to join the Minutemen. I then go to Sunshine Tidings, which had some ghouls, a couple red roaches, we take care of them, and meet Professor Godfields. The recruitment radio beacon has been built, and I go back to Preston to tell him that we have formed ranks. I then make my way to the Oberland station, where the settler thanks me for rescuing her sister, and we're now ready to head back to Nick's. We start going through the case, I tell him about Shaun's powers, how I've seen the little bugger change skin tone more times than I knew ethnicities, and that it all started when a bald man, with a scar in his face, kidnapped my kid and put my wife to sleep. And somehow, there was a man that lived in Diamond City not too long ago that fits the description to a T. We go to the abandoned house, but we cannot go in, so I have to find the key. In the mayor's office, I managed to hack McDonough's computer to disengage the lock on his safe, and get it. Oh, and all this right under his nose. Anyways, I go back, and we go in. Unfortunately, things didn't go as planned. Yeah, but at least Nick got to see Shaun's powers for himself. I found a red button, pressed it, and we figured out what kind of beer, ammo, and cigars the Baldy enjoys. Nick then recommends we ask Dogmeat to try and track him through his scent, which was a great idea until Dogmeat got stuck in a car trying to leave the city. So I do that thing, and let's just say take one didn't go as planned, but yet the second attempt did it. Although that's when I see someone shooting at me, and it's Takahashi. Extremely mad and no one else. Just Mr. Nanishimashika. Oh well. That's his problem, not mine. So we set on our journey, and that's when I see a settler waving and asking for help. But then, Shaun told me she's a liar, and I believed him. Dogmeat then leads us into the right path. We find some more San Francisco sunlights, bloody bandages. Shaun pets a Yaoguai. We find a decoy, and a Saltron that cannot feel its legs.
System corrupt. I can't feel my legs.
And so many cars by Fort Hagen that I cannot resist but asking Shaun to grant us a fireworks show. Dogmeat confirms this is the place, we go in, and... yeah, I tried my best, but a miracle it'll have to be. This is truly insane. We keep making our way through cars, synths and explosions, and...
okay, you made it.
Shaun avenges his mother, we take care of the remaining synths, and Kevin of Bacon's keen eyes realize Kellogg has a cybernetic brain augmenter, so we keep it as memorabilia. The terminal then says Shaun had been delivered to the Institute before being returned? What? We'll have to discuss this with Nick, who recommends we get an opinion from Piper, cause he's at a loss for words. That and, well, we're not exactly swimming on clues. Oh, and upon getting out through the elevator to the roof, the Brotherhood of Steel starts their spiel, but the Pridwin is nowhere to be seen. Did it become a car or something? It just might. Piper then catches up on the whole story, and when they realize I took a bit of brains, although in the form of a USB pen drive, Well, first they took a bit to let it sink in, but then they remembered. Dr. Amari in Good Neighbor might be able to help figure out how Kellogg managed to get in and out from the Institute. Hi, I'm here to inform you about your car's expired warranty. Is this what you want? Car madness? One feral somehow survived, but Nick took swift care of it, and trying to parkour my way out of this hellhole, I can't, so I'm once again banking on your love for explosions. I got some lag before reaching Good Neighbor, get in, all's good, oh, except Daisy's discounts.
Well, it's the detective. Tracking down another wayward husband to his mistress?
We're hiring, but I don't think you'd measure up.
Anyways, Finn tries to scan me while being snarky, so I have him go sleep with the fishes. And Mayor Hancock likes us already. In the memory den, Collision decides to be our arch-nemesis once again. We spend another miracle and make our way to Dr. Amari. She reluctantly accepts to take a look at what's left of Kellogg. Nick is kind enough to act as a decoder for the whole thing, and we find ourselves in Kellogg's memories. The game tries to give him character development as I run through the whole thing, and by the end we see an older Shaun. Damn the Institute and their sense! We got the info we needed. The way to get into the Institute is by teleportation. And our only hope is to find one Dr. Virgil that defected and is hiding in the glowing sea. Level 14 comes around and I finally get Blitz. Woohoo! Nice! Kellogg then channels his lost brain cells through Nick, who doesn't even realize what's happening, and then fades away. I decide to not ditch Nick, even though we'll be keeping an eye on him from now on. And in the glowing sea, we reach the Crater of Atom. Mother Isolde recognizes the name and without batting an eye lets us know of the cave Virgil's hiding in. A red scorpion tried to play peekaboo, but Shaun was having none of it. Then we find the rocky cave that holds Virgil's lab. He thinks we're tracking him on behalf of the Institute and is in a bit of disbelief when I told him that I had poured the cereal before the milk. I do manage to convince him, and he offers to start working on the teleporter schematics, although we're gonna need to find a Corsair chip, and we'll have to build it ourselves. I thank him, and it's time to stock an Institute Corsair. And near the CIT ruins, we find a Corsair signal that we can track, and it leads us right into Green Tech Genetics. The building was kind to us, we got to safely see some more explosions, and this one is total chaos. Cause there would be explosions happening by themselves even without a car, so you can probably guess how sunny this one will be. I managed to go through most of the building without an issue, but my rats keep piling up. And then some guy catches me off guard. I get my revenge, we keep on going. I realize I should have used the one rad axe I have when I first entered the building. Or that I should have bought some Radaway. But what's done is done, and now that we're here, the only way is forward, because Cabin of Bacon does not back down. I take good care of the guys near the elevator, but the hoarder in me just had to try and loot. Well, second attempt, and we just run. We create another irradiated zone, bathe in the microwaves, keep going, and find a Vault-Tec cross-promotional item, number 4. Wait, give me a second. Oh, okay, it's from one of the freebies I got from the Creation Club. I'll take it. With my health in critical condition, I rush to the Corsair, and before he opens his mouth, I introduce him to my little friend. I get the chip, help K1 escape, who was being targeted by the Institute since she's a runaway. Then I go back to Dr. Amari, show her the chip, and she tells me she cannot help, but that she knows who can. The railroad. I gotta find them. So I go back to Diamond City to try and find Dr. Sun, and that's when I see Mo laying there because of the explosion. But fortunately, the good doctor is safe and sound. He heals my rats, and we follow the Freedom Trail into the Old North Church. A couple cars, a couple ghouls, and the railroad's password is just railroad. That's so stupid it might as well have been password. If we're going to go that route, at least make it harder. We meet Desdemona and the rest of the group. We admit that Amari sent us, that we got a Corsair chip, and ask for their help. Deacon's been spying on us all along. So he tells Des we're not lying, and she agrees to let us in for a chat. In their HQ, the cars are preventing Tinker Tom from assuming the position, so yeah. Here's hoping they won't aggro. Everything goes well, and we make a deal. They'll give me whatever data's in the chip, provided that they can keep it. We accept. Tom decodes it in no time. I go back to Virgil and he hands me the schematics for the teleporter. Now, can you guess, who will we be siding with on this one? That's right, the 60-second man! I tell Preston I need to get into the Institute to find out the truth about Shaun. He tells me they got my back and to go to Sturgis since he's the only person we got that's able to decrypt this thing.
Teleportation? This is some pretty crazy shit.
Anyways, he does, and so I build the whole teleporter. We even got a wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man Easter egg. It's either that or I'm about to get disintegrated. We'll see. Oh, and Sturgis also gave me a network scanner for me to try to spy and get some intel on the Institute. The teleporter worked, we're still alive, and the cars are still doing their thing. Lovely. Couple punches, a cool explosion, we used the scanner and...
You are here for a specific, very personal reason. You are here for your son.
Yes, we're here to find the truth about Shaun. So he is my son! Ah, good grief, I can't believe I doubted her for a second. Well, deep down I knew, but she birthed him, and he didn't got his magical powers for me, so, you know, it's human to wonder. I used the elevator to protect myself and the baby, and that's when we see Synth Shaun in a cage. I ask him why they didn't give him a switch or anything, but he freaks out. Some grandpa cult father shows up, Shaun the Fist prevails as the one true Shaun, and holy! That's a lot of synths! I realize I got some grenades with me, throw them, use the elevator a couple times as a shield. It takes a bit to go up and down, but With 95% of them down, this was very doable and we finished the last couple of them manually. However, the exact same thing happened after going up the main elevator. At first, I tried the same tactic. Grenades, exploding cars to take care of most of them, and then elevator. And that elevator ride was so slow, seriously, that I completely regretted it. Although it gave me time to remember, I got Blitz. So this time I just used Blitz. I target the synth that is further from me and closest to the elevator, do that twice to pass all the stormtroopers, which is enough for me to reach the teleporter and escape from the Institute. And with Institutionalized completed, it's now time to prepare for Act 3. I give the network scanner to Sturgis, and Preston realizes our hard work to form ranks is enough to defend ourselves against the Institute, if need be. And it needs be. Castle's under attack. And this was a lot of coursers, a lot more synths, and too many beams. Shaun infested the place with the most foul smell that the Commonwealth has ever recorded. And if a Fallout 4 battle is akin to spending 2 minutes on fighting, this was the Fallout 4 equivalent of the 100 Years' War. 20 minutes it took, but no matter, the Minutemen were victorious. Ronnie congratulates us, Preston tells us Sturgis has found a way to infiltrate the Institute, and this time, it's to launch an offensive. We tell Preston we'll give him the heads up once we're ready, and Kevin of Bacon was born ready, baby, so back to Sturgis. Here's the plan. We're going in through a highly irradiated pipe from under the water, and then we'll activate the relay for reinforcements to get teleported to us. On our way, cars keep flying. A minor alert tells me it's been fun, and Shaun agrees. We make our way to the underwater pipe and into the maintenance area. I input the keypad code. We can now move on, and out of every place I could fall into, I just happened to hit the one exact place that didn't have water to help the fall. So we go again, and this time it works. Nick comments on the smell, and while the place is huge, we only have to worry about turrets, ghouls, and basic synths. Well, at least until we get to the lived-in parts of the Institute, that is. Once we reach the area we've been in before, I use the Institute relay targeting sequence to get our reinforcements. Preston shows up with a fusion pulse charge for us to bring total atomic annihilation because war never changes. And you're gonna knock him dead at the Institute, baby! We've gotta take a detour through the old robotics lab since the main elevator has been deactivated, and in the first room, we have to punch some cars, and of course, half our reinforcements gladly try to admire the Corvegas that are about to blow up. Half an inch from them. Good thing that triggered some more reinforcements. Anyways, we mail through some more synths. I even find the deactivated sentry bot that did nothing but sleep safe and sound. So I'm guessing I missed the terminal and I could have activated it for myself? No clue. What I do know is we eventually reach the bioscience lab. And that's the one in use. We're in. It leads us to the atrium. Plenty of coursers are waiting for us, including XPN-20A, who's got a little star ribbon for being a good scout. So we show him that no one experiments with my hair. Once the atrium becomes a scrapyard, Sturgis hacks the PA system, and he lets us know that he's found the reactor. It's in the advanced systems. But to unlock that area, we have to find our way to the director's personal terminal. So it's a good thing that we found that when we met Father before, so we know the way. Through the main elevator. I log in, override the lockdown, fight some more synths along the way, and we go into the advanced systems lab. Where obviously a car's blocking our path, because of course it is. However, we're able to close the doors and prevent being blown into smithereens. Striders are not really posing a threat, but in the next area, well, the cars are. And that's when Shaun tells me we've wasted all our miracles but one, and if I'd like to use it now, and we have to. So we keep making our way, find the generator, scientists are defending the area now as well, and not everything goes to plan immediately, but that was enough to get a good idea of the layout. We find the second scout, Z4K97B. Shaun tells him he prefers kickboxing to energy weapons, and all this as the third and last scouts providing cover. I ask Shaun if he'd like the last win that's left, and we agree to let A2018 get the whiff of it. We then activate the radiation purge system from the generator, initiate reactor shutdown sequence, plant the fusion pulse charge, and get teleported to near the relay, where Sturgis is taking care of everything on his hand, and he's got massive news for us. Upon inspecting the Institute's files, he found Project Dunwich, an attempt to use the ancient tablets they found alongside the Child of Prophecy to summon and control Oog Qualthought. We were in a hurry, so he didn't tell me all the details, but that's when I knew, really knew, that Nora never had an affair. That's my boy, albeit slightly cursed through the Daedric Prince of nuked alternative realities. Oh, and since Shaun's coming with, the real Shaun has decided to adopt him. Guys, I'm going to become a grandfather. I'm so proud. We get to a safe location, far to press the big red button of doom, and like that, our mission is complete. Well, kinda. I should also probably go back to Vault 111 and apologize to Nora, but I'm too ashamed to do that on camera. So, can you beat Fallout 4 if nearly everything is a car? I doubt it. I hope you enjoyed this month-late April Fool's special. Feel free to check out the other challenges. To subscribe for more, let me know ideas that you have. Like the video if you enjoyed it, the whole shebang, since it really helps. And I'd like to give a big shout out to Steve Whittle and to John Walker for their support of the channel. And to you, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I'll see you on the next one. And I hope you have a good one. Bye.
Because I know war. War never changes.
Holy shit. The Institute didn't leave us in the choice.